Hi, welcome to our 5-minute deep dive into hometown history, episode 2, season 2.
Yes.
We talked about the secrets in the textile industry, stitching secret messages in York County and the fiber arts. Tonight, we are filming at the Redstone Glen Fiber Arts Center. We're in Newburytown, just a few minutes down from where Domi and I live. And we're going to specifically talk about the Keenheel quilt tonight. So this Keenheel quilt was donated by Samantha Dorm. Samantha Dorm is big in the York County history community. Yeah. She works for the Friends of Lebanon Cemetery. Her and her team uncover graves that have been previously discarded, and they bring new life into it, and they also study the history of the people that lived there.
Right.
So she has this amazing story on her great-great-aunt's quilt. So here's a picture of it on the right, and that is her great-great-aunt, and her name was Jane. And she made this quilt. Originally, the family thought it was out of enslaved people's clothing. After they went into more of a deep dive into it, they uncovered that it was from salesmen's suit swatches. And right now, it is on loan at the History Center, where they're thinking about how they want to contextualize and remember York County history. So she originally made this, and then she gave it to her grandson, Gilbert Williams.
Yes, and he took it with him when he went away to school, so she thought it would be a nice little memento for him to take. It could keep him warm, remind him of home. And it's not that much different than, sending your kid off to college today with like a nice little blanket that you've made or...
Well, and she was an enslaved person, and so she didn't have much to give.
No, she had to repurpose things and reuse them. So that was her token of love to her son, which was really important. And when we were talking in our larger episode, we were talking that the textile arts and quilting in general was really like a show of compassion and love through family and the things that you could reuse and keep for generations. And this quilt has made it all the way from then to 2022, and it's in a museum basically at the History Center.
So Gilbert's story is fascinating. He worked on a cotton farm. He picked cotton, and he knew that was not the life for him. And so he decided, he prayed to God, and he said, if I can make it to the end of this cotton row, then I will find a new trade for myself. And he did. God was listening.
That's amazing.
Made it to the end. And then he walked 8 miles to Clapton University, where they admitted him without any down payment.
That's amazing.
And he was allowed to go to college.
It was meant to be.
And guess what he went to college for?
Tailoring.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you that for his mother, sewing was not only a hobby, but it was something that she did to sustain, probably she made her own clothing, probably made a lot of his clothing, and she made this quilt for him, and now he's going into tailoring as a career and making money out of it as a free person.
Right. And if you want to learn more about quilts, we got a lot of information from this book right here. It was published by the History Center, and it covers how quilting, how significant it was in the York County community, and it highlights all really cool stories of mostly women and the quilts that they made.
And Newbury Township is mentioned in here.
Oh, yes, that's right, yep. So years later, the Keenheel quilt passed hands again, and they went to Gilbert's cousin, Marley Keenheel Jones, and she's originally from York, and she's the one who safeguarded this story and passed it down to Sam Dorm.
Who's her great niece.
Yep, who is her great niece, yep. And so here is amazing. This picture on the left shows how they document their family history. Okay. So we highly encourage people who are at home, listen to your great-grandparents, write down their stories. There we see her on the right telling her story to Sam, and Sam is preserving these for us to also tell you guys. So we want to highlight that Jane was able to make these quilts, which for her, she wasn't some like radical feminist trying to completely change society.
Right.
What she was trying to do was just use the skills that she had and the resources that she had, and then give back to her family. And I think in a way it is radical because she took this symbol of female domesticity, this, the stereotypical like making clothing and stitching, but she turned it on its head. And really, now this quilt symbolizes independence, her ability to work, autonomously. And then also, we're talking about her legacy. Her legacy has been passed down through this quilt. So this seemingly innocuous activity, something that didn't take tons of money, it did take tons of time.
Right.
It's something that we use to remember her and the significant impact that women can make in our history.
Yeah, and I'm sure she would be amazed to find out that 2 women who never met her before are talking about her in 2022, and that her quilt has not only survived and it's a cherished family heirloom, but it's viewed, at the History Center by complete strangers and people who want to learn about African American culture and the fiber arts in York County.
if you're interested in learning more about quilting and other textile arts that can be used as feminist messages, the idea of inverting something that, again, was used stereotypically to maybe more placate women, but then women say, screw you, I'm making this and I'm going to be independent with
my
it.
kind of woman.
A fabulous book. And if you want to learn more, also, please watch our Season 2, Episode 2 of Hometown History, Stitching Secret Messages. We have it on Facebook Live at Hometown History. Yeah. And also, email us. We're 2 local women who live in Newburytown. We have emails. So if you have any questions, reach out. Special thank you to the Redstone Glen Fiber Arts Center for hosting us. And we will see you next month for our next episode.
Thank you, everybody.